give you a very unique behind-the-scenes look at what goes on at Supercross. Some of these guys have been racers. All of them are involved in the sport at some level right now. We have some folks that are going to be stopping by giving you a behind-the-scenes look at some of the 2010 models that are out there. But we'd like to bring out some of the top names in the sport of motocross and supercross that have paved the way. But our first guest coming out today certainly needs no introduction in this part of the country. He was a world champion before he left the GP circuit. He served notice to Stefan Everts that he may be the fastest GP rider ever. Came over here, won an outdoor national championship, won a supercross here at Anaheim back in the day as Jeremy McGrath's teammate, and he's going to regale us with his episodes of Anaheim. Will you please help me welcome Mr. Greg Albertyn, everyone? You've had some first, well, probably the one that comes to mind first is you're one of the first people I know that have ever got a buck in the off season, but instead of using a bow or a crossbow or a muzzle loader, you used a dirt bike.
I did, and I took it out. Clean shot, too. It was actually 1994 Motocross des Nations in Switzerland. I'd just come off winning the World Championship, and I was leading. I whole shotted. I was leading the 250 class, and it was a track called Roggenburg in Switzerland, as I said. Coming down this hill, and next minute this deer runs out of the forest straight into me. And I mean, I'm third gear, flat out, and next thing I know, I'm going over the handlebars, cartwheeling down the hill, and got up going, who let their dog out? You know, I thought it was a brown Doberman Pinscher. And eventually I look, and this thing's, I don't think it had horns, but it was like, you know, neck was broken and everything. I just couldn't believe it.
Here you are back at Anaheim, always a fan of the sport. So much has happened in just 2 rounds. Chad Reed basically out of the series. Ryan Dungey emerging on the series. James Stewart not having anywhere near the back-to-back finishes he had hoped for. What are you expecting tonight?
I think Dungey's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I really do. I mean, you can never count James out. He's got speed, he's got the flair, and it's a long series. But one thing Dungey's shown, season after season, he's consistent. He's there every time. Stewart is not consistent. He's there most of the time, and I think consistency is going to win this championship.
We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Bruce Sternstrom real quick. You're going to hang out. Folks, this is Mr. Greg Albertyn, and when we... He's the new Vice President of Monster Sports Marketing. He's been with the Kawasaki Motocross Empire for a number of years. He has spearheaded Team Green and put it at the shelf that it is now. Will you please welcome to Thor MX TV, Mr. Bruce Sternstrom. One of the things that Kawasaki was able to do was early on was team up with Mitch Payton.
Well, Mitch Payton has done a great job, and I think, you know, a lot of people see what he does at the pro level racing, but he's done a lot for amateur racing as well, and he's been involved, I think, in supporting a lot of riders that have, you know, started their careers on mini bikes, on 60s, 65s, 80s, 85s, and come up through the ranks. So he's been a great partner for us. You know, that program started with us in 1991, actually. So that's what, almost 20 years nearly at this point. So it's been a long-term relationship. It's been a good one. You know, I think that's another program. You know, we just signed a new contract with them this year for another 3 years. So, you know, it's something that at Kawasaki I know is highly regarded. I'm still talking like I worked there. Last Thursday was my last day, but and I'm kind of honorary team manager today, I guess, to some degree. But after next Wednesday, I start my new job, so I have to. Things will be a little bit different.
Monster continues to give back to the sport of extreme sports across the board, and we're fortunate enough to see the effects in motocross and supercross, but skateboarding and there's really no area that you guys are scared to get into. You're not worried about getting into anywhere because you know that the people are going to come to you.
Well, one thing that I think is so attractive to me to work with Monster and work for them is the relationship that I enjoyed with them the last couple of years, because they are this is their NASCAR. I mean, motocross, supercross is their NASCAR. This is what they like. This is their demographic. This is where they want to be. So they've put a lot of effort and a lot of support into motocross, supercross, and other forms of motorcycle racing, but also obviously the extreme sports. But this is a big part of, this is kind of their core of where they got started with their business, and it's something that they hold at a very high level.
Let's talk about Chad Reed for a moment. Last week, injured, broken hand. The bike sits idle. Do you think they find a substitute rider for it?
Well, yes, I would say yes, and it's something that now I'm on the other side, so I got to say, hey, Kawasaki, where's our second rider?
Ryan Villapoto, is he going to get a win tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, he's made tremendous improvement in the first couple of races, and I think, you know, he's ready. He knows how to win. I mean, everybody on the grid he's beaten, so it's not like he's thinking that he hasn't done it before. So, you know, I was kind of kidding him the first week, and I hope he didn't take it to heart, but I said, you know, you tend to be kind of a slow starter. And the first couple of weeks, he's somebody that watches everything, and he's kind of seems to figure out where he is, and then from there, every week he picks it up. So I think, I don't like that he does that necessarily, but he does do that, and I hope this week he puts it on the top, because I think he's very capable of doing that.
It's going to be a great ride for him. Bruce Sternstrom, the new VP of Monster, hanging out. Greg Albertyn. When we come back, we're going to talk to David Vuillemin, DV934, about what he's been going on, what's happening in the GP circuit. We'll have all that and much more when we return to Thor MX TV with Mr. David Vuillemin coming up next. He's been mentoring a young rider by the name of Gautier Pauline, who's come over to America. Will you please help me welcome to the Thor MX TV stage, multi-time Supercross and Outdoor National winner, Mr. David Vuillemin, everyone. David, please come have a seat. Ah, Bruce, look, see, did you hear that they're looking for a fill-in rider over at Kawi? You want to come off the couch and ride a couple soupies?
No, I'm done. I'm retired, fully retired.
Well, talk about being done, because it seems like no matter what happens from LB retired, you're always involved with the sport, and your newest involvement is you're basically a mentor.
Yeah, I always said I didn't want to be involved too much after I retire, but Gautier came to see me and said, hey, would you help me if I go to the US just to train for the GPs and race a few supercrosses? And I said, okay, we can go to my house and we can go ride at the Yamaha track and have some fun. So I'm back into it.
We were talking a little bit earlier with Greg about some of the countries that seem to have the Supercross program figured out, and France came up obviously as one of them. Whether it was Jean-Michel Bale, yourself, and now we see Christophe Purcell, there's such a passion for Supercross in the French country with Bercy and things like that. I mean, is that something that the country just has a real passion about?
Yeah, I think France is really passionate about Supercross. Obviously, Bercy is the biggest race in Europe for like 25 years, so it's really big. And we have a good French championship in little stadiums, more like arena cross in the US. And there's a lot of kids, you know, they dreamed about coming to the US, you know, do like JMB or Pichon or myself. So, you know, everybody dreams about that. And a lot of French guys are coming here in the US now to race a few Supercrosses just to check it out. And but it's tough, you know. Americans are really fast, and it seems to the economy is tough. And it's going to be difficult to get rides for French guys now. They have to be better, you know, and faster. So.
Okay, I got to put you each on the spot. Elby, who you think's going to win tonight in the 450s?
Dungey.
Dungey. Bruce?
I got to go with Villapoto.
He's going with Ryan Villapoto. David Vuillemin?
I'm a Bubba fan, so I'm going to go with Bubba.
He's going with James Stewart, and I'm going to go with you race fans are going to be the winners tonight. Folks, this is Thor MX TV. How about a nice round of applause for all three of my guests, Greg Albertyn, Bruce Sternstrom, David Vuillemin. We certainly hope you guys have enjoyed being a part of Thor MX TV.